Night, SportsCenter. I hope you had a better Monday than Dan Hurley did, or a better week after this point. Back-to-back goes back-to-back. Hurley and UConn facing Colorado after losing Tuesday to Memphis, and Hurley hasn't lost back-to-back non-conference games in a season since 2016. Here's Javon Ruffin, shoots from three, misses. Trevor Baskin gets the offensive rebound over Liam McNeely. No foul is called. Baskin dribbles, falls down. Colorado calls a timeout. Hurley, I don't think he's happy with that.
There's two back-to-back calls. Yesterday, they didn't get the over-the-back call. Now they're giving. It's a problem. It's a problem.
And this is where the problem started here, Jay. On Monday, McNeely called for an over-the-back foul. Hurley went crazy again on the sideline. That led to a technical foul. And Memphis would win in overtime, 99-97. Hurley gave his thoughts on Tuesday's no call following the game.
Today, it was more egregious because, the kid, Baskin pulled Liam's arm down. I saw the replay of it. It's obviously, it's ironic.
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? Back to the game. 15
I can't
seconds.
with you too. I can't.
It's right there, Jay. It's right there. Like it was
we had it there.
For Andre Yakumovsky. Drives, hits the acrobatic shot off the glass and in. Not looking good for you, Jay.
Well, it's back-to-back opponents, so they allowed their teams to shoot 50+% from the field.
Yeah, that's it. That was all.
That's it.
Yep. And Diarra takes the pass, shoots a three, can't connect at the buzzer. UConn fans can't believe it. Colorado players better believe it. They're happy about that. They won 73-72. So the fact that UConn has 2 losses in the last 48 hours is notable on its own, right? But the heartbreaking fashion in which they've lost only adds to the drama. This is the first time in the last 40 years and the 5th time in AP poll history that a team with any ranking has lost by 2 points or fewer on back-to-back days. Let's break this down a little bit more, Jay. With the frustration from Dan Hurley, what are your thoughts on those 2 decisions that went against UConn?
Well, first off, shout out to Colorado and Tad Boyle. They lost 5 of their best starters last year, and they had a big win, obviously, against the reigning champs. But I think, first off, UConn is not the same defensive team they were last year. I think you're seeing that struggle with that number I just gave you about both opponents, Memphis and now Colorado, shooting 50% or better from the field. But the last 2 calls are things that, for me, would drive me crazy.
Okay.
All right? First off, the first one that they called over the back, the player wasn't actually boxing him out. The player was fading away. I didn't think that was an over-the-back call. So I thought Dan Hurley was right to lose his mind. Poor time and situation for him to lose his mind at that particular moment. I think it helps his team lose that game. But then if you're wanting consistency, today's game, it was a player doing that to his team, and they didn't call over the back, and there was more contact on the play. So it just comes down to the level of consistency in calling these games. So I think Dan had the right to lose his mind, but once again, there are repercussions for your actions, as my mom taught me as a young child.
Exactly. Jay, let me see if I can get this right. So back-to-back national championships with back-to-back calls at the forefront of both losses have now lost back-to-back against unranked opponents.
Yeah, it sounds like a Drake video, yes.
I think I have another
Bar.
career as a rapper. You can be my manager. But the question here is, the alarm bells and UConn, scale of 1 to 10, how loud are they sounding right now?
Look, I think UConn will blossom into a different team. But this thing about reigning back-to-back champions, we can throw that stuff out of the window. That was last year's team. Last year's team had different pieces personnel-wise. Defensively, Stephen Castle, a guy that got drafted in the NBA, was a lockdown defender. This team lacks having a lockdown defender. So I get that they won last year, but they're going to take their lumps this year. Could they be there when it matters? A lot of things happen in November. It's about what happens in February and March. So they could still get there. It's just going to be a longer road than what we expected.
All right. Cooper Flagg, best player in the country.
Coach K and Ken Jong, what's going on?
How about that? The doctor? He's in the house midway through the first half. Kansas leads. Flagg heavily guarded on the wing. Dickinson wraps up the ball, and a jump ball is called.
Hey, this is what they did. They just kept blitzing him on every ball screen. Cooper Flagg with only 2 points in the first half and really struggled offensively.
DeJuan Harris Jr. feeds Dickinson on the pick and roll for the layup.
Just a mountain masquerading as a man.
Kansas up 12, 5 minutes left in the half. Harris Jr. drives in, misses the layup. Blue Devils in transition. Tyrese Proctor, 3-point.
This is when Duke is at their best, not when it's a half-court set when they were to push the ball in transition and attack.
How about Malik Brown, who will hit the three as well?
Yep, I have never seen him make a three before, but I'm glad he decided to make one tonight.
Next Kansas possession, Flagg flies in and disrupts the pass of Dickinson. Con Knipple goes coast to coast for the lane.
Well, first off, that's a coast-to-coast name, Con Knipple, and what a name it is. But this man is unbelievable offensively.
Moments later, Harris Jr. drains the three.
Haven't seen him do too much of that, but once again, another great play.
If you're managing my rapping career, I'm managing your comedy career. You're doing stand-up around Connecticut at the very least. Duke makes it a 41-39 game at recess. You go into the second half. Midway through, Kansas leads by 2. Dickinson in the post misses the layup. Comes crashing down on Brown on the rebound attempt.
Yeah, and he got ejected for this play. I thought it was the right call. I don't see how there's a need for the right foot to kick Brown in the head. Bill Self obviously is going to be angry. Everybody is calling it kind of crazy, but the refs made the right call.
9 minutes left. Duke down. Flagg throws down.
Of course, this highlight's going to be seen everywhere, even though Kansas won the game.
That's number 1 in the top 10, right? It's got to be.
Has to be.
Has to be. At least top 3. 6 minutes left. Knipple passes to Flagg for another one.
Yeah, like I said, Cooper Flagg, 2 points in the first half, 13 points in the second half, came alive offensively. What a move.
Harris Jr. passes to Rylan Griffin, drains the three.
An Alabama transfer, this Kansas team just loads up with talent, I tell you.
Under 4 to go, Griffin drives in for the bucket and the harm.
And the harm.
Back up 4 after the free throw. Yeah, loving it. 2:30 to play. Duke trails. Cooper Flagg will drive to the rim, and he will lay it in, tying the game.
With the left, high off the glass. You want to talk about dexterity, versatility? That's who Cooper Flagg is as a player.
Other end, Zeke Mayo shoots at the shot clock, makes the floater. Kansas now leads. Under 10 seconds to play. Duke trails by 1. Flagg takes it in the lane.
This is where you got to give a head fake. A little head fake. You can't leave your feet and make that play. That's a freshman mistake.
Kansas extends their lead. They would make both free throws. Under 3 seconds to play, Con Knipple gets it off the inbound, shoots, and it rims out at the buzzer. Heartbreak for Duke as Kansas wins 75-72. Bill South joined our Chris Budden after the game.
How'd you get it done?
Well, we played tough, and Flory was great when he came in late, and our guards made great plays basically the whole night. And Cooper killed us on the little ball screen and role play the entire second half, but the last possession we guarded him.
You guys boast so much experience. How did that show up here tonight?
I'm not sure that it did, Chris, to be honest with you, but we got good guards, and KJ's a heck of a player, and then we had some kids step up, but we're a work in progress still, so we still got a ways to go.
Appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And it kind of looks like Duke is maybe in a work in progress. When we talk about their late game struggles here, Jay, what went wrong for them?
Well, I think that, with this team, when you have Con Knipple, like I said, that coast-to-coast name that we made mention of in the highlights, and then Cooper Flagg, both those guys are 6'7", 6'8", and they are the best playmakers on Duke's team. That is a problem. Their best offense is when they're creating points off their defense or when they're in transition. Their smaller guards are more players that loom on the perimeter that can knock down shots. So when you get into the half-court guys, everything revolves around your 2 large wings. There's nobody on their team that makes the job easier for everybody else. That player is DeJuan Harris Jr. on Kansas, right? Just a facilitator, makes the game simplistic. And I think when you get Duke into the half court, when they settle in, which is obviously a tournament time situation, that's when Duke is not at their best right now at this maturation level that they're at.
For Duke, is it just early struggles or a cause for concern?
Well, I think it's a little, look, they have the talent. They have the talent, they have the depth. I think they're going to be there at the end of the year. It's going to come down to the maturation of guys like Tyrese Proctor and Caleb Foster. Like, these are their guards. Cooper Flagg is going to be the first pick in the draft, okay? Just mark that down right now.
Yeah.
Con Knipple is going to be a top 5 pick in the draft.
Coast to coast.
Mark it down. Coast to coast, right? You may be doing that on NBA coast to coast with Con Knipple. But the issue is going to come down to guard play. Can guards make plays, and can they make life easier for the likes of Cooper Flagg and Con Knipple?
Yeah, like you said, freshman mistake, that's how you learn from your mistakes.
Exactly.
But they better learn quick because
Yes.
they're on quite an important team. Jay, yeah, exactly. Jay, thanks for
What's you guys? Too many
We're
reps.
just
you
sort of
guys.
imaginary beard.
It's late.
Imaginary.
Thinking about what you're saying here.
That's all right.
I feel like
Too
I
much
got a little
coffee?
Idris Elba
Maybe.
look going on right now. I just built myself up. It's fine.